For some reason, people like to interview me. And in one of my recent interviews, I was asked a question that kind of took me aback. And the question was, what has suffering taught you that success never could? Now, before I move forward, I want to, number one, thank you for listening. And number two, let you know that I do, in fact, cuss. So if that's not your type of party, I invite you to keep on scrolling. All right. For the cousins who are still here with me, my response to the question was, suffering has shown me that I am forged by fire, and that fire has strengthened my heart and expanded my capacity. This journey has not been easy, but I measure my success through my growth, through my audacity to keep moving forward, the courage I summon from fear to do bold things, and the way I respond to life's challenges. These trials have taught me lessons that success alone could never reveal. Now, I want to dig into this a bit more, starting with me being forged by the fire. So at my big age of 33, I've received different readings throughout the years. I've studied my astro charts, and one thing that keeps showing up is this theme of prevailing through adversity. And I found myself asking, why? Why me? So I started at the beginning, the very beginning, before I even portaled into this earthly realm. And I saw my spirit, free, sensual, warrior spirited. Rules? For what? You know? And then I received an assignment, but I left the spirit realm without completing the protocol. And then voila, I arrive here in this earthly realm. I'm immersed in a family who I love deeply, who are powerful, beautiful, magical, yet also navigating brokenness, poverty, not just financial, but mental scarcity, abandonment, abuse, addiction. But even in that, when we came together, dancing, laughing, eating, listening to stories from back in the day, playing spades, those moments made the brokenness feel purposeful. So as I'm absorbing all of this in my youth, my mind, my responses, my outlook on life, they're all becoming shaped. But remember what I told you. Before I got here, my spirit roamed freely. I danced to the beat of my own drum. I sang a tune that only felt familiar to me, and that energy has never left. So anytime the programming tried to tell me I could not, I should not be this or do that, my spirit would rise up and say, oh yeah, watch this. And that way of moving through life, it took me places, you know, some beautiful, some uncomfortable, some that stretched me in ways I wasn't prepared for, but all of it is a part of my becoming. Let me give you an example. So growing up, right, I loved movies like Cinderella, you know, the one with Brandy and the legendary Whitney Houston, and Princess Diaries. I was drawn to that rags to riches energy. I wanted to know what it felt like to live in a castle. So fast forward to around 2016 or 2017, I'm laying in bed scrolling on Craigslist, and I come across a job opportunity in Virginia, McLean, Virginia. Never heard of it before. But the first line said, come work in a castle, and I was sold. I applied. I got the job. My mom was like, are you sure? And I was like, Miss Ma'am, I've already secured a basement apartment in Reston. Never heard of it. Never heard of that place, but got an apartment there, and I'm on my way. When I tell you I stepped into a whole new world, I ain't lying. Crystals, huge crystals everywhere, expensive artifacts, spaces, people that felt otherworldly. I sat in a room that I never imagined I'd be in, and I was also suffering, you know? I was the only Black person in that space, and I felt it deeply. And it was there that I learned one of my biggest lessons. Everything that glitters ain't gold. Because I got an up close view of what having it all looks like and what it actually can hold. So on one hand, we got the money, the land, the luxury, the image, alongside disconnection, lack of love, lack of care. And I remember standing in front of this huge window one day, looking out at these beautiful red and orange trees and asking myself, how the hell did I end up here? And within 72 hours, I was gone. And when I left, I came back home with egg on my face. And I had to regroup quickly, So I took what I could get. I ended up working at an after-school program at a karate organization. And baby, when I tell you, they had me in there waxing on and waxing off. And I was suffering even more. It was really tough, not just physically, but internally, But I had to learn how to take my hands off the wheel a little bit and just coast. And one thing about me is that when I feel like shit, I'm going to get cute. So I remember one day I did my hair, cornrows, with some micro braids in the back, with a bunch of beautiful beads and cowries. Real cute, real cute, right? So one day I'm on my lunch break. I step out, walked into this restaurant, and it was this woman who complimented my hair. I told her thank you, and I said, I did it myself. She said, can you do mine? I said, absolutely. So a few days later, I'm at her house braiding her hair, and while I'm doing her hair, I overhear her and her grandson talking about their nonprofit, and I'm thinking, I got to shoot my shot. So I start asking questions and sharing my experience, and she told me, if you want to do this work, you have to get an interview. If you get the job, we'll send you back to school. You'll get certified and you'll work at the same time. I said, bet. I got the job. I went back to school for free, got my certifications, and then I became an adjunct professor at that school. I ended up getting my first private apartment, my first new car, and I stepped into a whole new level of purpose. And when I look back at that whole experience, from the castle to coming back home to waxing on and waxing off to braiding hair and opening a new door, that's when it really clicked for me. Suffering didn't just show up in one moment. It moved with me. It shaped me. It humbled me, but it also positioned me. It taught me how to keep going when things didn't look how I imagined. It taught me how to use what I had, where I was. And it taught me that even in moments where I felt off track, I was still becoming. And that is what I mean when I say I measure my success through my growth, because growth for me has looked like continuing forward, even when I didn't feel ready, even when I didn't feel proud, even when I didn't fully understand what was happening. So when I think about that question now, what has suffering taught me? It's taught me that I am capable of becoming again and again and again and again. If you're still listening to this right now, I want to remind you that whatever it is that you're moving through, it's not just happening to you, but it's shaping you too.